Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are putting together the ultimate toolkit for asking questions in French. Seriously, by the time we're done here, you are going to have a complete set of tools to confidently ask for, well, anything you need. Let's jump in.
So, imagine this. You're walking down a beautiful street in Lyon. You see a bakery, and you just need to know if it's open. You have the words, the store is closed, but how do you actually turn that into a proper question? Well, that's exactly the problem we're going to solve today.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll start with the absolute simplest method, one that only uses your voice. Then, we'll move on to the standard, kind of all-purpose approach that works almost anywhere. After that, we'll level up and master the more formal, elegant technique. We'll throw in some finishing touches to make you sound extra polite, and then we'll put it all together in your complete question-asking toolkit.
Okay, so why are we so focused on questions? Well, because a real conversation is a two-way street, right? It's not just about making statements. If you can master asking questions, it's not just about getting the information you need, it also helps you understand what people are asking you. It is the absolute core of any real communication.
When you boil it all down, every single question we're about to build does one of two things. It's either trying to get specific information, like where is the bathroom? Or it's just looking for a simple yes or no. That's it. So with that in mind, let's grab our first tool.
First up, we have intonation. I want you to think of this as your trusty pocket tool. It's casual, it's super easy to use, and it's perfect for those everyday conversations when you just need to ask something quick. It's always in your back pocket, ready to go. So what is it exactly? It's pretty much just using the magic of your voice. You take a totally normal sentence, a statement, and by making your voice go up in pitch at the very end, poof, it becomes a question. This is incredibly common in spoken, informal French.
Okay, check this out, because you can literally hear the difference. First, here's the statement. Flat, a simple fact. Le magasin est fermé. Now, listen to the question. All I'm going to do is change my voice. Le magasin est fermé? See that? That little lift at the end? That's everything. That's the whole technique.
And this quote just nails it. When you're chatting with someone, you don't always need complicated grammar. The music of how you speak, that rising sound, does all the heavy lifting for you.
Now, here is a super important detail you need to know. If someone asks you a regular positive question like, Tu vas au cours? Are you going to class? You just answer oui for yes. Simple. But if they ask you a negative question like, Tu ne vas pas au cours? Aren't you going to class? And you actually are going, you can't say oui. You have to say si. Si is how you say yes to a negative question. It's a tiny little word, but it makes a huge difference.
All right, tool number 2 for our kit. This is Est-ce. Think of this as your standard screwdriver. It's reliable, it's versatile, and it just works in almost any situation you can think of. Seriously, if you're ever in doubt, this is your safest bet.
And the best part? It's basically a simple plug-and-play formula. You just take the phrase est-ce and you stick it right on the front of any normal sentence. And that's it. You have a perfect question. No other changes needed.
So let's go back to our example sentence from before. Le magasin est fermé. We just pop est-ce on the front and we get Est-ce que le magasin est fermé? It's clean, it's clear, and you can be confident that it is always grammatically correct.
Okay, it's time to bring out the power tools. Inversion. This is the most formal, the most elegant way to ask a question in French. You'll see it a lot in writing, and you'll hear it in more polite, formal conversations. It takes a little more practice, but wow, it really shows you have a solid grasp of the language.
So here's the most important thing to know about inversion. It actually works in two slightly different ways, and it all depends on what the subject of your sentence is. If it's a simple pronoun, like he, she, or you, it's a straightforward swap. But if the subject is a noun, like the store or a person's name, the structure changes just a little bit. Let's break that down. First up, let's talk about pronoun inversion. This is the most direct one. You just take your subject and your verb, like in il est, which means he is, and you literally just flip them. So it becomes est-il, is he? And don't forget that little hyphen. It's super important. It basically glues them together in their new order. Now for the other kind, noun inversion. This is where we use a really cool trick that I like to call the pronoun echo. The original noun, le magasin, it stays right at the front. Then comes the verb, est, and right after it you add the pronoun that matches the noun. In this case, il for le magasin. So you get le magasin est-il? See how the pronoun kind of echoes the subject?
And there's one last little refinement for inversion that just makes everything sound so much better.
Sometimes, a verb ends in a vowel and the pronoun right after it starts with one, like in va-elle. That's a little awkward to say, so French adds what I call a sound bridge. You just insert a little tt right in the middle, giving you va-t-elle. It just helps it all roll off the tongue.
Okay, we've got our 3 main tools in the box. Now it's time for the finishing touches. Think of these as the accessories, the little things that add polish and politeness to the questions you're asking.
You know how in English we make a statement and then add right or isn't it at the end? Well, you can do the exact same thing in French. N'est-ce pas is the classic all-purpose one. If you're in a more casual chat, you can just tack on non or pas vrai to the end of your sentence. Super easy.
And this one's kind of a no-brainer, but it's so important. A little politeness goes a very long way. Just starting your question with a simple excuse-moi or s'il vous plaît instantly makes the whole interaction feel smoother and more respectful. It's just a great habit to get into.
All right, we've collected all of our tools, so now let's lay them all out on the workbench and take a look at our complete toolkit in one place. This right here is your ultimate cheat sheet. And here it is, the whole system at a glance. If you're just having a casual chat, let your voice do the work with intonation. For just about any other situation, when you need a reliable, works-every-time question, Est-ce has got your back. And when you want to sound extra polished, especially in writing, that's when you pull out the power drill, Inversion. Each tool has its perfect time and place.
So look, after all that, please don't get overwhelmed. Because when you really boil it all down, it just comes down to these 3 core methods. 3 main tools in your kit. That's it. That's all you need to remember.
So the toolkit is officially yours. You have the simple way, the standard way, and the sophisticated way to ask absolutely anything. The only thing left to do now is to actually use them. So the question is, which tool are you going to pick up and try out first?